Hello again, adventurers. DM Angie here with a little update. I realized I had some unanswered questions from the first video that I gave, and I wanted to address a couple of different things, some kind of housekeeping items, so that way when we get here for character building, which is in less than a week, I'm very excited, we'll be ready to go and hit the ground running. So I mentioned in the last video that you guys will be starting at level 3, but I didn't necessarily explain the implications of what level 3 means, mechanically and also roleplay wise. So I wanted to go over that a little bit. So, level 1, your character picks its class, you've got your race. At level 1, your character has come of age, and the player's handbook will describe at what age your character would reach maturity. It varies from race to race. Orcs are as young as 13, humans are the standard 18, and it's just basically when you become an adult. So at this point, your character would have some kind of motivator to go adventuring, whether it was family duty or obligation, such as a cleric who might join a family order, wanderlust, which is very common. You just want to see more of the world than just the village or city that you grew up in. Occupation, like a bard or someone who learned a trade. Also, your background, which is chosen in the player's handbook, will play into that as well a little bit. So if you are a magic caster and became an acolyte, that could kind of describe how you got to level 1 and how you got to where you are now. There's also professions like guildmaster. So if you were apprenticing under someone, that could be an option for your background and a motivator for you to go adventuring or get caught up in mishaps with your party. Revenge, I always like to throw that in because if someone wants to go the tragic family angle, you were the last survivor of your line, you're like, you know, Sansa Stark from Game of Thrones, she doesn't, know that there are other family members that are alive, but she thinks she's the last one, so maybe she's got a motivator for revenge, and that's how she becomes a level 1 druid. Sure, whatever. Whatever, fantasy background you want to pull from. Another option would be, depending upon the ethnicity that you chose and the region you want your character to be from, Vision Quest might be an option. Vision Quest is a Native American coming-of-age ceremony where basically the young man or woman is given like a day's worth of food, and they're like, go out, go find your spirit animal, and come back once you do, but not before. And vision quests can last anywhere between weeks and months. So that's a common practice that can be integrated into this world. And a lot of the world I'm leaving open because I like what you guys bring to the table. You all have different backgrounds personally. You have different likes and dislikes when it comes to fantasy or adventure, and I like to hear those. I like to see those expressed at the table. So bring your ideas. This is just a way to kind of get the juices flowing a little bit. So if that's level 1, how do you get to level 3? Experience points, just like any other RPG game. Just because we have pen and paper doesn't make it any different. So you would need 300 experience points to get to level 2. And then you would need a total of 900 experience points to get to level 3. And I've written down a couple of different typical monsters that some low-level characters might experience or encounter. So if these are ways that you can work them into your backstory, awesome. If you want a little help trying to figure it out or justify it, I'm here and we can work on that together. The first one that I wrote down is so common, it's like a trope for D&D. Kobolds. Kobolds are basically little pint-sized lizard men who usually carry sticks. They're not even spears. And they can offer 25 or 50 experience. So if you took on a band of kobolds that was causing a ruckus outside of a village, that could have gotten you to level 2. Or it could have been slow progression over the course of a year game time. Lizard folk, they're kind of like the grown-up, slightly more aggressive version of kobolds. They offer 100 experience. Orcs, they're 100 experience. Ogres, they're 450 experience, so it's a little bit of a bigger jump. That might be something that a level 2 character would take on. Also half ogres, same way that you have orcs and half orcs. They offer 200 experience because their intense primal blood has been tempered by another race. Were-rats are 450 experience as well. They're on the lower spectrum of lycanthropes because you go from were-rats to werewolves. I think there's were-jackals, were-tigers, were-bears, so it progresses upwards. So were-rats are kind of on the low, handleable, I guess, spectrum, end of the spectrum. The favorite creature of all D&D players, just because of how ridiculous it looks and its name, the owlbear. The owlbear offers 700 experience. So if you and a group of people were to take down an owlbear, you would share that experience. So even though it's a large number of experience, it would be kind of broken down in between all of you. Moving on to the undead side of things, if you have a intense hatred for undead, zombies, they're 50 experience. So if there was an outbreak of zombies in a small area, and zombies are usually caused by desecrating a holy place or just negative energy that kind of filters into the area, it can cause the dead to rise and be unsettled and cause mayhem. Slightly stronger than zombies are ghouls. They have a little bit more intelligence and they're able to take commands from whoever raises them. And slightly more intelligent and slightly more dangerous than them are ghasts. So ghouls offer 200 experience and ghasts offer 450 experience. Other than these creatures, additionally would be creatures that are just considered beasts, so animals. Some examples would be an axebeak, which is basically an emu. It's a flightless bird with a giant beak and nasty talons. They're 50 experience. Black bear. It's a black bear. They offer 100 experience. And then the last one, I throw this in kind of as a nod to Lord of the Rings, giant spider. Giant spider would be 200 experience. Now, the experience that each creature offers is divided among however many people attack that creature. So if, for instance, there was a party of 4 people, level 1 players, and they took on one lizard folk offers 100 experience, each player would get 25 experience. So you can kind of spin this to use some bigger creatures that are in the monster manual to kind of justify it if you had a big party of people who were all attacking it all at once. So I just wanted to kind of go over that and let you know what level 3 really means in game terms. Feel free to work this into your backstory, play with it as you see fit. Also, additionally, mechanically, on the other end, you guys should all have access to the player's handbook. For any class at level 3, this is when you get to choose your, I call it an archetype, but really its name is subclass. So for instance, any class, fighter, monk, paladin, druid, at level 3 gets to choose basically their specialty. So instead of just being a plain druid and having 2 plain druids at the table, now at level 3 I could have one that focuses on Druid of the Moon, and the other one could be whatever the other class of druid is. For monks, you can now choose your type of martial arts specialty, your monastic tradition. For paladins, you get to choose your oath. For wizards, well, we're leaving out wizards, but just as an example, you would choose your school of magic that you would specialize in. So this gives you that ability to kind of diversify and really get to see how other people shine and how other classes shine. So that's why I chose level 3, in case you're wondering. So if you guys have any questions on the book, you have any questions about your backstory, I'm here. We've got 6 days. I'm so excited. I can't wait for us to roll dice. So on that note, the only other housekeeping item that I have, which is a question that's been asked, is how are we going to determine stats or statistics for our base abilities? In the beginning of the player's handbook, in part 1, creating a character, on page 13, there's determining your ability scores. There's something that is known as the elite spread. This is what we're going to be using for your ability scores. It gives everybody kind of a nice base. We're not depending upon the randomness and or luck involved with dice. So this way we all kind of have everybody on the same playing field, which I think is a really good setup. And Wizards of the Coast came up with it, and I think it's a great idea. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Other than that, everything else that's on the character sheet will be explained at our character building session. I'll go over things in depth, but if there's anything on the character sheet, and I'll put a link to a sample character sheet that you have questions on, please feel free to ask. I can either make another video or I can answer it in the group. And other than that, this is DM Angie signing off.